Crystia!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. Seems like Justin Trudeau just can't help himself when it comes to scandal after scandal after scandal, and not only that, but flaunting those scandals in front of Canadians' faces. Today, it's no different. Now, over the weekend, I'm sure everyone heard about his latest one that really is stacking the deck when it comes to our next election. Now, I do have stories coming up later this week talking about new pandemics being called and things like that, and possibilities of countries shutting down again and boxing us all inside. Why would that be? Well, so coincidental that there's an election coming up in the United States. There's going to be one coming up in Canada at some point. Now, I thought as we made this video, we'd be talking a little bit more about the pressure coming on to Justin Trudeau to step back, to leave his post essentially once Parliament resumes in the fall. Now, I've done videos talking about how his MPs are threatening to quit, how anybody with any level of intelligence to this point would step down knowing that their record is this low, that people have had enough, that their polls are in the toilet. Well, I've often begged the question, he's either really stupid or there's something we don't know and we're going to see some shenanigans. Well, look no more, because here's an article from the Clown Broadcasting Corporation, who should be defunded, by the way. But it's always good to get these ones because they show the narrative as to what's going on. Justin Trudeau has now named broadcaster Charles Adler, healthcare executive Tracy Mugley as new senators. Conservatives say that this move proves Trudeau's appointing his Liberal friends. Well, of course he is. He's stacking the deck in the Senate so that essentially he can get away with whatever he wants. And when it comes to the next election, freezing the next election, people have said often, there's going to be a war, there's going to be something going on that makes Trudeau stall the election till 2026. Just wait, it's coming. This could be it. This could be the possibility. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau named two new senators on Saturday, with broadcaster Charles Adler and healthcare executive Tracy Mugley joining the ranks of members of Canada's upper legislative chamber. Senate of Canada will be stronger with its newest independent senators. Mr. Adler and Ms. Mugley will put their vast experience and knowledge to work for all Canadians in their new roles, Trudeau said in a news release. Adler, a refugee from Hungary, not that it matters, has been a broadcaster and writer for decades, an Emmy Award winner, and has been a prominent political commentator throughout his career as a journalist. He will represent Manitoba in the Senate. Now, I know all about Adler. Again, I grew up in Winnipeg, and the guy's a shill. He's got his head up Trudeau's posterior, if you know what I mean. Mugley is a healthcare executive in Saskatoon, has worked with and served on boards of numerous organizations in the health and social services sector. So again, somebody else who's going to be a nice little puppet for Justin Trudeau. In 2016, Trudeau instituted a new appointment process that relies on an independent advisory board. Formerly, the Governor General appoints senators but acts under the advice of the Prime Minister. Well, again, Justin Trudeau's just gone out of his way to make sure that he's getting his friends in here, that anybody who sides with him or who has their noses turned a bit shade of brown might help him out when he needs them to. Trudeau has now appointed 84 senators under the new process. The vast majority of senators sit in one of several independent groupings in the chamber. A number of senators form Conservative caucus in the Senate as well. The Liberals revamped the appointment process in the hopes of creating a more independent, less partisan, and more diverse Senate. Again, they use these stupid words to make you think that they're all doing it in the case of looking better and more tolerant. It is nothing more than, again, we've seen it with Arrive Scam, the contracts, the billions of contracts that go to Trudeau's friends. Well, now these jobs are going to his friends as well so that the corruption can continue. Many independent senators say they do not have ties to the governing party and evaluate legislation based on their own judgment, often pointing to numerous amendments made to government legislation in recent years. Charles Adler is pro-Trudeau. He's a shill. He's the definition of a shill. This guy, in my mind, is a hack. He has no business being in the Senate. I'm curious what kind of kickbacks Trudeau's given him. The Conservatives have consistently argued since 2016 that the process results in Liberal-friendly appointments. No kidding. A number of recent appointees to the Senate indeed have strong ties to the party. Well, of course they do. Do you guys remember that the Supreme Court said that invoking the Emergency Act was illegal? Where's the Senate on that one? Chamber recently debated to sweeten new rules that give more power to the independent groupings in the Senate. Those changes have been met with sharp criticism from the Conservatives. Mugley, appointed Saturday, previously ran as a candidate for the Liberals in 2015 and 2019 and has been a long-time donor to the party, according to the publicly available contribution data. So why is she sitting on the Senate as a non-partisan? Like, I'm sorry to laugh, but does this not? Like, this is where I talk about them flaunting it in front of your face. Like, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing to us, and they really just don't care. Adler has not run as a candidate, nor does his name appear in the federal contribution database. He was long considered a conservative commentator, but in recent years, he's discussed moving away from supporting conservative parties because of shifts in policy and approach in the last decade or so. So when you highlight the comment, the approach in the last decade, well, that's the time Justin Trudeau's been in. And of course, I'm sure his funding has increased significantly since Justin Trudeau was in office. In fact, you'll remember this video here that Marty Up North has posted where Trudeau says, well, the media tells us what we want to hear, or they leave us alone when we ask them to because we pay them $600 million. You don't get stellar headlines like these without greasing the wheels a bit. Actual quote coming out of Trudeau's mouth. I mean, this is a government paid shill that's been given a job on the Senate. I had such a hard time believing that a person who was a Liberal Prime Minister and his critics would say too liberal, would even think about offering this to someone who has been, for the most part, a small C conservative, Adler told CBC News. Well, of course he's going to say small C conservative. But he's paid by Justin Trudeau. He gets some of that media kickback. To me, nothing proves independence more than someone like me, he said, adding he was honored to represent Manitoba. I don't know if Manitoba's too happy to have him on the Senate. Adler said that Trudeau emphasized to him during a phone call the importance of acting independently. He also said that several senators had reached out to welcome him, but that no one had communicated that they expected him to articulate a partisan view in the Senate. In a statement on Saturday, the Conservatives criticized the appointment of Mugley and Adler, and it noted that Mugley's political ties and Adler's past criticism of Conservatives, saying the appointments prove that Trudeau is appointing his Liberal friends to defend his disastrous policies. Again, this makes me question what we're headed in towards when it comes to our next elections. Whether they're by-elections, whether it's the next federal election. Again, I'm not here to say anything more but speculate that, people have talked about Justin Trudeau stalling out the next election. And of course, you would need the Senate in order to do those things. There's laws that he wants to pass. There's bills that need to go through, that have to go through the Senate. And of course, just like he said with the CBC and other media outlets, that they have to grease the wheel, so to speak. This is all that's happening in the Senate. They're stacking the deck. They're stacking the deck in favor of the Liberals. Absolutely disgusting. And the Conservatives nail it right on, where they say it's just him giving jobs to his friends. And while Charles Adler wants to pretend he's a conservative, I mean, I can say once again that when you talk about how you identify, if you want to get silly with their terms, well, I guess I identify as trans-financial. So the government could stop being bigoted at any point and give me some money. And maybe then I'll start believing their diverse policies. But when it comes to Charles Adler, no, he is not a conservative. He is a puppet shill for the Liberal Party of Canada. And quite frankly, I think he's a hack that doesn't belong in the Senate or any political position for that matter. And that's just my 2 cents and my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure as you're hitting that button, you click the bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show, where we talk about everything that's happened the past week in politics, everything coming up in the week ahead, and a little bit of back and forth with the community. Gracing me as always on that show now and becoming a normal staple is my wife, Mrs. Fringe, who loves to sit and chat with you guys, and it's always a great time having you guys around. I have a great time spending the evening with her and you talking about everything that's interesting in the world of politics, and I hope to see you there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.